There's only one man who would dare give me the raspberry. Lone Star!
You want answers!
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
You wanna know how I got these scars?
Today, Junior?
Top news stories of the week. Time to find out once again with Megan Olson and News of the Week on The Al Travis Show.
Love having her on. Megan's News in Review on The Al Travis Show. We take the most talked about, tweeted, retweeted stuff that doesn't have to do with sports, and we talk about it here. Megan, how are you?
Good. Happy to be here for another week, trying to push through with sickness, but the news never stops, so we don't either.
Not in Minnesota, and you keep up, and I appreciate you doing it. Of course, since, I guess, it would have been fraud up until, a month ago, a little over a month ago, and all we talk about is ICE. I presume, once again, ICE is the major topic du jour in the state of Minnesota?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, last week we talked, it kind of seemed like maybe there'd be a resolution. There was a conversation between Trump and Mayor Fry and Governor Walz. They were sending Tom Homan to the state. Now we're, still ICE is here. You have Secretary Kristi Noem saying that they're actually going to equip all ICE officers here with body cameras. Why they weren't before, I'm a little confused by, because all other law enforcement has to. I understand it's expensive, but it kind of seems like too little, too late, just given everything that's unfolded in the last month.
It's too little, too late for what's happened in last month, but then you can only get better, right? The Democrats said they wanted it. Good, give it to them. Just write the check. I believe, let's say it's 90-10, this will help the ICE agents, in my opinion, right? Here's what I saw, here's what I didn't see, whatever, with the shootings and all the rest. I believe it will help them in the long run. And if anything, film don't lie, right? Different perspectives, and we all look at it see different things, but you can bust it down. I'm very thrilled with the idea that they're all going to get them. I don't know how quickly you can do that, though. Can you get 1,500 just lying out? You're not going to Walmart picking them off the shelf.
And they're also, I believe they're like a subscription-based service. So you have to have room in the cloud to house all of the stuff and make
Elon
sure that
Musk's
there's
gonna get rich.
But
Elon's
it's
getting rich
immediately.
Okay. Well, and I think that's a good thing. Quite frankly, I think that is a good thing. And let chips fall their way. It may show cops doing bad things or saying, but you know what? Then we'll have to hold them accountable for that as well. I'm okay. I think that's a good idea. I even said, I think when this first started, back with the good situation, I wish there were more people with cameras. More, every time you send an officer to go pick Bob up in his house, bring one camera guy so you show what happens. I think I'm happy.
It shouldn't be on the bystanders to document.
Exactly. So I think that's a good thing, personally. So we'll let that go with that. Anything else with the ICE situation?
I can't remember if we talked about it on the show, about the protests that entered a church during services, Martin Luther King Jr. weekend. I don't know if we touched on it, but we're seeing some of the fallout of that now. I mean, you had CNN journalist is he with CNN?
Old Jim. He used to be. He's not. He's independent. Don Lemon on podcast or something.
Well, he was fully embedded into this protest, covering it, and decided to also enter the church as they did to continue to cover it. 9 defendants have been taken into custody. I believe he is one of them.
Yes.
So the administration is alleging that they went in there with the conspiracy to deprive congregants of the church with their ability to worship. So it's the FACE Act that they violated. Proving intent on that is really hard, especially when the First Amendment kind of supersedes anything. But yeah, 9 total defendants. That's one of them, I believe, is a college student as well.
The other eight of the 9 don't have that quote unquote "I'm freedom of the press" thing going on. So the FACE Act is going to wipe them off the board. And what I mean by that is they use that quite heavily against people who were praying outside of abortion clinics. When Biden was if you were praying outside abortion clinic and people weren't able to readily go in without hearing you praying for them, they were throwing them in jail. So the FACE Act has been used just years ago. This will be interesting. But the Lemon thing is not unbelievable to me, but the idea, I just saw him like Conan, or not Conan, one of the late night talk show hosts, and how they're getting behind him. You're a journalist. He's a journalist. He's been a journalist for 100 years. That's not a get out of jail free card. Let me just throw this at you. So the First Amendment has 5 different parts. One of them is the freedom of the press. One is the freedom of religion and the ability to gather peacefully and do your thing. Don Lemon's First Amendment right to be a journalist doesn't supersede the rights of those being in a church having a worship service. One doesn't beat the other one out. And in fact, when you break your First Amendment right, when you break one of your rights, it's stripped from you. What I mean by that, I saw this. First, you see Lemon in there interviewing the people at the thing. And right after saying, I'm a journalist, I can do this. Then the other videos came out, from as far as the way I saw them. Then a video came out of him in the staging area with the people. And he was interviewing them, and we disrupt stuff. We'd like to do this. He said, don't anyone say anything about where we're at. That would ruin the whole thing, the whole operation. And then a little earlier, another one comes out, and he's getting him coffee and donuts. So
impartial, I don't know, questionable.
Impartial is, but let's take the church out of it and their First Amendment rights. Let's just take ICE out of it and this whole whatever we're doing. Let's just call it the bank robbery theory. If you saw him do the exact same thing, bring the bank robbers coffee and donuts, interview the bank robbers, telling them all the plans, what we're going to do and how we're going to disrupt. We're just not going to tell you what bank we're at. Then he goes in with them into the bank and does the robbery and films it. You're an accessory. You literally told people not to say where we're at because the cops will catch us. You're helping. That is not how journalism works. You don't get a free pass to be a part of it. He could have got all the way up there, got to the front door, and filmed the door and said, going on right now inside is this, this, and this. That's important. When you go in and help with the, you know what I'm saying? If you took everything else out,
there certainly does appear to be a line that's crossed. Whatever happens in court, I don't know. It's going to be super hard to prove. I mean, at the same time, you have, I believe it was Ellison and maybe some of the mayors of Minneapolis and St. Paul. They had like a temporary restraining order that they were trying to get. A federal judge just denied it, but they were saying that the Trump administration violated the 10th Amendment through infringement of police power and unlawful coercion, saying that Minnesota was completely singled out. This really isn't about enforcing the law. It's about singling out the state. No other state has experienced this. And they weren't able to prove that in court. Apparently they didn't have enough evidence. So it's because ICE is in John Lemon case is similar. It takes a lot of evidence to prove this.
ICE is in every state. They did this in Washington. They're doing down in New Orleans. They've done this other places so it doesn't wash. But as far as proving this, that's where Lemon hurts himself the most. If we hadn't done the coffee and donuts with him first and brought that, if he hadn't done the we're good, here's got a great plan, you won't believe what we're going to do coming up. And he said in the it was like, we're doing this. If he hadn't done all that and posted it online and all you saw was Don Lemon, I saw what's happening, I raced into the building, there might be something there. But he literally posted everything he did ahead of time. Mm-hmm. I don't know. His lawyers, and I know they're going to be good, they better be great because back to now we put it back in. His right to do that doesn't supersede those inside that building to do what they did. So this is going to be interesting, but Minnesota will not get off the front page for another year while this goes to court.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing, and we could talk after the break too about kind of race updates with governor, Senate, all that. I mean, Republicans before all this happened, I thought had somewhat of a leg to stand on when it came to the fraud issue and making that, the key issue of 2026. ICE has now completely clouded any ability to gain any more traction on that issue. Even if ICE leaves tomorrow, this is going to linger. The sentiment isn't going anywhere. And especially with Klobuchar getting into the race for governor, I think Republicans are in a very tricky spot to win, basically.
I don't have it. I think it was KSTP. I could be wrong, but they did a big poll, Amy Klobuchar against all the others on the Republican side, and she's winning by 13, 14. Let's discuss how that works on the other side. Can we do that?
Absolutely.
I've got her. Megan's News and Review.
At LGH Wealth Management, our mission is to create financial empowerment through independent, personalized, and authentic financial planning. That means meeting you where you are and helping you get where you want to go. Whether you're a business owner planning for growth, succession, or a future sale, or a hardworking individual looking to get ahead, reduce stress, and tackle life's financial challenges, we're here to help. From retirement planning and investment management to tax-efficient strategies, estate planning, and risk management, LGH Wealth delivers comprehensive guidance you can trust. Call LGH Wealth Management today at 507-525-7324. That's 507-525-7324. Securities offered through J.W. Cole Financial Incorporated, JWC, member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through J.W. Cole Advisors Incorporated, JWCA. Lubeck Geisler Ham Wealth Management Incorporated and JWC JWCA are unaffiliated entities.
amongst friends. The Al Travis Show. Nothing but talk.
We've got our Megan's News and Review talking about the Senate race. Obviously, Amy Klobuchar gets in. I don't think that was a shock, right? I mean, the news did not stop because Amy Klobuchar got in. We kind of knew that. But I don't know if you saw this last weekend. There was this X thing about Enlist Erin May Quaid, EMQ, of drafting.
Oh, yeah,
EMQ.
that website is down now.
Is it? Okay, see.
It is, and she did come out and she did a little like clickbait video saying, "Oh, I'm running for governor." Oh, just kidding. I'm going to run for Senate again. So she's not running, but yes, they were trying to draft her to run for governor.
But and good for her. I mean, it's got to make you feel good. Somebody makes an entire website asking you to get in the game. But that's not the way she's going to play it, which is fine. But it did make me think, okay, maybe Senator Klobuchar isn't left enough for the left. Is there some possibility that still somebody else could say, maybe she's too nice to the Republicans with her reaching the hand across the aisle?
I think there is room for an even further left candidate, but caucus is tonight. So,
yeah. And
there's a lot riding on tonight. I mean, the momentum really has to start now. And so if you're not in the race now, there's just, yeah.
Well, let's do this. They caucus tonight. Oh, everybody does tonight, but let's just go on the left side. They caucus tonight, and let's say 85% of saying, we want Klobuchar, she's our gal, which you'd expect from the left, but let's say 15% are saying, anybody else. Is 15% enough to say, wait a minute, and maybe Amy still gets it, but she's got to drift to the left to grab that 15%. You know what I'm saying? It can't be she's going to run down the middle of the road anymore.
Yeah, and I'm not even convinced that it would be 15%. I feel like it has to be even less because, I mean, you mentioned this before the break. This KSTP poll that came out is showing her blowing Republicans out of the water, no matter who the candidate. Jensen's at the top with the smallest margin in between, which is crazy to me. Then you've got Dameth, and then you've got Qualls. But she is outperforming them in every way.
Let me throw this at you, though, because it's not necessarily my brilliant thought, but I love the thought. They come out with a poll the week after she gets in. She's, everybody's on Amy.
Caucus.
Right before caucus. Everybody's on Amy. She's been doing this for 20-something years. The most popular politician in the state of Minnesota. We all agree, right? She couldn't break 50%. When they put her up against, and I don't mean to be ripping anybody, but Brad Kohler, don't know him, Jeff Johnson, Peggy Bennett, who just got in, she gets 50 as a high.
Yeah.
That's got to hurt in a state like Minnesota, doesn't it? She should be.
With these polls, it's so hard to read into them. And Grant, I mean, you're talking about only 650 people in the entire state that got polled for this. 35% were Democrats, 30 were Republicans, 29% independents. Like, it's just the margin of error is 4.8%.
Megan, do you believe 29% of Minnesota is an independent?
I think a lot of 29% are afraid to say which side they actually are on.
I would give you that. I'm just saying with 15 people or whatever it is still on the Republican side, and they're busting 30, 35%, even the lowest at 30 to 35% up to Jensen. And he was the last guy who ran statewide. You do something like that, there's only growth on the Republican side as you get down to one-on-one. Amy Klobuchar, in my own humble opinion, in the state of Minnesota, that should have been at the 60-something level, just because everybody knows her.
But I guess kind of a tool she has in her toolbox is that she doesn't have a running mate. So who she chooses as a running mate, I mean, Walz. We know why Walz chose Flanagan, because he was also Amy Klobuchar-esque before he became governor. And he chose Flanagan to kind of bring in that kind of maybe a little bit further left DFL folks. We don't know who her lieutenant governor pick is going to be. We're hearing Senator Grant Hochschild, but we're also hearing, she needs to pick a bigger name than that. It can't be like a state senator or state rep. So who knows? But that's a tool that maybe she'll announce today. Who knows?
It'll be interesting. I think they're gonna see what happens with caucus tonight. A lot of stuff's I think half of the Republicans are gonna fall out tonight when they get there and they start having their people talking. Said everybody's talking about these guys, not you. There's gonna be some real conversations had on the Republican side. I think that dumps. The other interesting one, if we can, the Senate race with Michelle Tafoya getting in is interesting. It gives the Republicans something to chat about. But now Senator Smith endorses Lieutenant Governor Flanagan.
After saying she wouldn't endorse.
Exactly. Something has changed in this race. Now Phillips comes out and says, well, guess what? Both those people on that side were ripping me when I said Biden wasn't fit for running. And so I'm throwing mine toward Craig. This race is going to get nastier before it gets better.
So yeah, Flanagan has the support of Tina Smith. You'd think that would be huge. Okay, she's a shoo-in. She has $800,000 cash on hand compared to $3.7 million that Craig has. Like that is crazy. And I mean, I'm not saying money wins elections. I do think it has a big part in it, but you would be crazy not to go with the candidate that and also at the end of the day, we have Senator Klobuchar leaving her seat to run for governor. That's going to be open. Are they both going to end up being our U.S. senators somehow if this all shakes out?
That is the weird thing about this. There's talk that if Amy wins or Senator Klobuchar wins, she's going to give it to Walz. I don't know. He says he's not going to run, but that's not running. Yeah. Okay. But then she could go over the other two ladies and say, yeah, it doesn't matter. Whichever one of you guys get one Senate seat, I'll give you the other, and you have to run. I think even Minnesotans would say, that's a little too close-knit for me. I'm not too thrilled about that. That'll be an interesting run. But at least that Senate seat now is interesting because I'll throw this at you. I know that Flanagan has put out her own poll saying she's up by 13-14%. But Craig, with that kind of money, has yet to tie Flanagan to all the fraud. She hasn't come out and did it. And I think personally between you and I, the fact that Lieutenant Governor Flanagan seems to be the only one that isn't latched on to that fraud like everyone else. If you're a senator or a representative, if you voted for some of this stuff, you're being touched by this fraud. Obviously, Walz is being hammered by it. Ellison's being hit. How does the lieutenant governor not? I think Angie Craig has got more than one commercial ready to roll. That if those are really the way the polls are going, you're going to see some pretty negative campaigning because she's not going to let that go.
Well, and truly, I will say a lot of what we talk about on the show is, what's going to happen with these races. You kind of have centrist right, centrist left candidates, and then you have kind of more of the fringes. And I think both parties have experienced the push and pull of that over the last 5 or so years, where caucus sometimes can turn a little crazy because it might be, super far left or super far right. I think tonight's going to be a testament of kind of the future of the state and how we move forward based on how caucus turns out, and if we're kind of getting back to the centrist, classic Minnesotan ideals, or if we're going to continue to be on the fringes on both sides. So
it's going to be fantastic. We'll get back here next week. We'll talk about it. Fair enough?
Yep, absolutely. We'll be back next week talking about all the Minnesota top news stories of the week on the Al Travis Show with Megan's News and Review.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something